Welcome to this edition of Ethical Sustainable Investment News and Analysis to Profit By. I'm Ron Robbins, an ethical investing pioneer for over 40 years, quoted in the Wall Street Journal, MarketWatch, the Globe and Mail, and numerous other media, and founder of the highly respected global ethical sustainable investing information website, Investing for the Soul. And please listen to my disclaimer statement at the end of this podcast. Now enjoy this podcast. Hello, Ron Robbins here. Welcome to this podcast, episode 139, published October 4th, 2024, titled Sustainable ETFs for Sustainable Investors and More. Is presented by Investing for the Soul. Investingforthesoul.com is your site for vital global ethical and sustainable investing mentoring, news, commentary, information, and resources. Remember that you can find a full transcript and links to content, including stock symbols and bonus material, on this episode's podcast page at investingforthesoul.com/podcasts. Also, a reminder, I do not evaluate any of the stocks or funds mentioned in these podcasts, and I don't receive any compensation from anyone covered in these podcasts. Furthermore, I will reveal any investments I have in the investments mentioned herein. Additionally, quotes about individual companies are brief. Please go to this podcast webpage for links to the articles for more company and stock information. For this podcast, I have 3 articles to cover. The first is titled Best Sustainable ETFs for ESG Investors. It's by Samadha and can be seen on sfctoday.com. Here's some of what the author says about their picks. 1. TCW Transform 500 ETF. Unlike traditional ETFs that exclude companies based on specific ESG criteria, the TCW Transform 500 ETF takes an inclusive approach, using shareholder engagement to encourage better corporate governance and sustainability practices. By including major companies and influencing their behavior, investors in this ETF can help drive long-term value creation in the U.S. economy. The ETF tracks the Morningstar U.S. Large Cap Select TRUSD Index, a market cap-weighted index that reflects the performance of the largest U.S. companies. 2 is X-Tracker's MSCI USA Climate Action Equity ETF. As the world increasingly moves towards sustainability, the X-Tracker's MSCI USA Climate Action Equity ETF is positioned to capture investment opportunities aligned with this shift. The ETF tracks the MSCI USA Climate Action Index, which includes large and mid-cap U.S. companies recognized as leaders in climate action within their respective sectors. The ETF's rigorous selection process evaluates companies based on their emissions intensity, climate risk management, and commitments to reducing carbon footprints. For investors who want to capitalize on the long-term growth potential of the transition to a low-carbon economy, this ETF provides exposure to companies that are leading in this space. Number 3, iShares ESG Screened S&P 500 ETF. The iShares ESG Screened S&P 500 ETF provides exposure to large-cap U.S. equities while adhering to ESG criteria. This ETF tracks the S&P 500 Sustainability Screened Index, which excludes companies involved in controversial industries such as tobacco, coal, and weapons. Managed by BlackRock, a leader in sustainable investing, the fund aims to balance financial returns with a positive societal impact. At an expense ratio of just 0.08%, iShares ESG screened S&P 500 ETF is a cost-effective option for those who want to invest sustainably without significantly deviating from the performance of the traditional S&P 500 index. 4. Vanguard ESG US Stock ETF. The Vanguard ESG US Stock ETF is one of the most popular options for investors looking to combine broad market exposure with ESG principles. It tracks the FTSE, that's FTSE, US All-Cap Choice Index, which includes large, mid, and small-cap US companies that meet stringent ESG standards. Companies involved in activities such as tobacco, alcohol, gambling, and fossil fuels are excluded. Launched in September 2018, the Vanguard ESG US Stock ETF has gained popularity for its low expense ratio of just 0.09%. 5 is the NYLI Candrium US Large Cap Equity ETF. The NYLI Candrium US Large Cap Equity ETF offers a passive investment approach with a focus on US large and mid-cap equities that meet specific ESG criteria. It tracks the NYLI Candrium US Large Cap Equity Index, which leverages Candrium's leading ESG research to provide a diversified portfolio across various sectors. With an expense ratio of just 0.09%, the NYLI Candrium US Large Cap Equity ETF stands out as a cost-effective, tax-sensitive investment option for those seeking to invest sustainably. The ETF has earned a bronze rating from Morningstar, a testament to its strong management team and reliable investment process. Its strategy focuses on high liquidity and volatility exposure, offering greater flexibility in managing the portfolio. For investors seeking a resilient core holding with a strong ESG focus, the NYLI Candrium US Large Cap Equity ETF provides an excellent option." End quotes. The second article is titled 3 Alternative Energy Stocks to Buy by Aparajita Dutta. Her work features regularly in these podcasts and is found on Zacks.com. Here are some quotes from her article. 1. Talen Energy Corporation. Based in Houston, Texas, the company owns and operates power infrastructure, principally in the United States. On September 5, 2024, Talen Energy announced that its board of directors has approved the upsizing of its previously announced share repurchase program, increasing the remaining capacity to $1.25 billion through the fourth quarter 2026. This reflects the company's solid financial position. Talen Energy boasts a four-quarter average earnings surprise of 140.71%. Talen currently sports a Zacks rank number 1 strong buy. 2. Fuel Cell Energy. Based in Danbury, Connecticut, the company develops and markets ultra-clean power plants that generate electricity with up to twice the efficiency of conventional fossil fuel plants, with virtually no air pollution and reduced greenhouse gas emissions. On September 5th, 2024, Talen Energy released its third quarter fiscal 2024 results. Its generation revenues increased 22% year over year. As of July 31st, 2024, its backlog increased approximately 12.6% to $1.2 billion. Fuel Cell Energy boasts a four-quarter average earnings surprise of 18.75%. The consensus estimate for the company's 2025 sales is pegged at $2.29 billion, implying an improvement of 84.5% from the previous year's estimated figure. The company currently carries a Zacks rank number 2 by. And 3 is TXNM Energy. Based in Albuquerque, New Mexico, TXNM is an energy holding company that delivers energy to homes and businesses across Texas and New Mexico. TXNM boasts a four-quarter average earnings surprise of 1.96%. The stock holds a long-term earnings growth rate at 2.5%. The company currently carries a Zacks rank number 2. End quotes. The third article is also about sustainable ETFs. It's titled 3 Sustainable Investing ETFs for Ethical Portfolios and is by Abhishek Bulyan, appearing on stocknews.com. Here's a brief quote from the article. Sustainable investing involves aligning investments with ethical and environmental values, focusing on companies that meet ESG criteria. Large cap blends are a good choice because they offer stability, diversification, and long-term growth potential. Companies with solid track records and ESG practices can provide strong returns while minimizing risk. To that end, investors could look to invest in sustainable large-cap ETFs, such as the iShares MSCI KLD 400 Social ETF, the Vanguard ESG US Stock ETF, and iShares ESG Aware MSCI USA ETF for an ethical portfolio. End quotes. These are my top news stories with their stock and fund tips for this podcast, Sustainable ETFs for Sustainable Investors, and more. Please click the like and subscribe buttons wherever you download or listen to this podcast. That helps bring these podcasts to others like you. And please click the share buttons to share this podcast with your friends and family. Let's promote ethical and sustainable investing as a force for hope and prosperity in these troubled times. Contact me if you have any questions. Thank you for listening. Now my next podcast will be October 18th. I'll talk to you then. Bye for now. Learn how to create a simple portfolio reflecting your personal values by taking my 1-hour tutorial. Go to investingforthesoul.com/podcasts and click the link in the right-hand column for my DIY Ethical Sustainable Investing Pays tutorial. Now, I'll mention in the podcast if I have any direct interest or holdings in companies or securities I'm talking about. Furthermore, any news, opinions, analysis, or other information offered by myself, as well as references and information to or from other external sources in this podcast, is provided as general market information and should not be relied upon and thus does not constitute investment advice. Investors should consult their own licensed investment professional before making investments. Also, I will not accept liability for any loss or damage, including without limitation any loss of profit, which may arise directly or indirectly from use of or reliance on information in this podcast. do contact me at ronr@investingforthesoul.com. Signing off, this is Ron Robbins.